I don't think that is something meant to replace. I think that is something meant to allow creatives to have more possibilities. And I also think that requires a new kind of skill.
Victor Perez, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So you are the co-founder and CEO of Krea, an $83 million backed AI creative suite. But for people who have not met you before or don't know much about Krea, how do you describe it to someone?
Krea is a creative suite that makes sure to bring whatever the latest research is on the AI space to creatives through very intuitive tools.
What are some of those tools that people are most using today?
I would say the image generation tool, video generation tool, and the enhancer are definitely the three that people use the most. And the fourth would be the real-time tool. That is one of the ones that we recently changed, and people are enjoying it quite a lot.
And you guys are working across many, many mediums right now between the products and offerings that you guys have and also the customers that you guys have. You are also a creative yourself. You have a background in music and many other things. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience as a creative growing up prior to launching this company?
So I guess on the first creative things that I started doing were related to music. I started playing the classic guitar at a quite early age, inspired by my father. And from there, I got really interested in music in general. So I ended up creating a band. And that was kind of all my teenage years were around that music band. And through the music band, I started getting into photography, or I started getting into graphic design, mainly everything for the band. But I started exploring many different things. And then when it was a time, I was 17, 18 years old, and it was a time to go to university. That was the moment where I was really close to go to study professional classical guitar in the conservatory in Barcelona. But I ended up choosing to do an engineering that it was kind of a middle ground between music and computer science called audiovisual systems engineering. And from there, I got into coding, I got into AI, and that's where the both worlds that I was interested growing up merged together. And that's where I started to mess around with creative uses of AI. And that's how Krea ended up coming from.
For that audiovisual degree that you have in the school that you went to, what are some things that you learned there that maybe has changed over time? I feel like so much about the creative industry has, because of technological advancements, really changed. So being a student in that kind of intersection, what are some things that you learned there that really either inspired you to keep building or that were just shocking to you?
I think that more than the things that I learn are the things that I don't learn that inspire me. Because I was reading a lot of papers on the internet. I was looking at a lot of code bases from researchers all around the world. I was looking at what they were doing, and I was looking at how deep learning, that was 2017. So deep learning had been around for a while, but there was not still the strong belief that it could acquire some of the capabilities that we are seeing nowadays. So I guess that it was me looking at all of this happening and seeing how teachers were not really teaching us those things. So I guess that it doesn't really answer your question, but I think that I got inspired more by the things that they didn't taught us than the things that I learned in there.
Yeah, so coming from a creative background and seeing maybe what can happen in the industry or what you hope to happen in the industry, but that not matching up with what you are learning, walk me through then that decision to start building a company around it. How did you come up with this idea? What was kind of what pushed you in the direction of wanting to solve those things on your own?
There was not a plan. It was not something that I saw a problem and I started a company to fix a problem. Everything was kind of chaotic and kind of serendipitous. So I got really interested into AI and into coding coming from a creative background. And I think that was something that there was a small movement around people that came from similar places from where I was coming, that it was growing, especially on Twitter. There was a lot of people that either learned how to code, to use AI to generate visuals, to generate videos, or even do interesting stuff with text. So at the beginning, I got really interested in this small community that it was growing around people kind of researching and kind of coding and doing creative stuff with AI. And as I got deeper and deeper, what I realized is that most of the people that they were in this space, they were more programmers than artists, if that makes sense. There was definitely a mix, and I can see that mix in myself. But I know that naturally my brain works better for computers and works better for the kind of challenges that computer science has, even though I love art and I love creative tools. And as I got deeper and I saw really cool things happening, I really saw a a monotony around like the things that people were trying. And I was like, I guess that at that moment I also saw that there were not a lot of tools for artists who didn't know how to code to use this technology. So as a side project, not thinking about a company, I started building interfaces. Like up until then, my background was first creative as a kid, then research growing up in university. Then I switched towards interface and kind of like figuring out how can we build like an interface for using this technology that is completely new and that we don't really know what is like, how is it going to be used apart from experimental visuals, but it's so cool that I really want to see what artists can do with it. So I started like building side projects, and one of these side projects got investment from a venture capital called HF0 from the US. Also in a very chaotic story around my co-founder stealing my idea and us flying to Miami.
Tell me the story.
So I was in Barcelona, and I guess that the whole story, it's Diego, who's my co-founder, was in New York. We both got like one of the most prestigious fellowships to be studying in New York. He was already in Cornell, and I was supposed to go next year. And while he was at Cornell, I think that he was more bored than what he expected to be. And he set himself up to like improve his communication skills. And the way how he tried to improve his communication skills was through trying to convince people to give him a job, which was kind of funny. But so he applied to Stripe, and he got a job at Stripe. He applied to Jane Street without really knowing much about like what they were asking, and I don't know if he got that job, but he was applying to many things. And one of these things that he applied to, it was HF0, that it was this startup accelerator. And he applied, he got into the interview. First thing that they ask on the interview is, what are you building? He blanks out. But it turns out that 1 or 2 weeks before, I was teaching him everything about this side project that I was building. I recorded myself for 6 hours, like going through all the code and like teaching him everything about like this project that I was working on. So he knew everything about it. So he blanked out and he pitched my whole side project, like my whole little interface that I was building at that point. Investors liked it. Right after the meeting, he calls me freaking out. Yo, like I just did this. Do you want funding for your idea? I didn't want to sell it. I just like blanked out and I like sold it out for you. If you want me to stop, tell me. I'm gonna stop. But if you want, like I'm getting to the next stage of the interview. And I was like, no, like go for it. Like sell the fuck out of it. So he did. And on the second interview, people like they played with the interface and the investors liked it a lot. So they invited us to Miami, and he called me again. And he's like, yo, can you get a flight in 24 hours to go to Miami? They want to spend a week with us. And we did that. We went to Miami during like the whole Web3 boom. We were like the only AI startup in there. Those were like some crazy times, but that's how actually like Krea got started.
And what year was that happened?
2022.
So
I guess at end 2021, that's when this happened, and early 2022, that's when we started with Krea.
Okay, gotcha. And so from just 2022 to now, or like you're talking about in these kind of like Twitter ecosystems, people just starting to experiment with it, so much has changed in AI from then to now and like its capabilities and what people are using it for. What have you noticed from your perspective in terms of people's use cases or why they're coming to an AI platform in general, and then how Krea kind of taps into that?
Sure. I mean, this technology got orders of magnitude better than 2022, 2023, and it keeps growing. Like I feel like we're still at the very beginnings of the capabilities that this technology is going to have. But I feel like in 2022, 2023, after DALL-E 2 was released, I think that it was the first time that it switched from a toy to something that it can actually serve for certain creative use cases. And I think that the main way that people are using it right now, or that creatives are using it right now, it's to get ideas. Like I think that is a great replacement for something like Pinterest, or like they use it a lot for creating mood boards. That's on the one side, and on the other side, I think that is also like all this novelty that comes out of creating with AI, that is not just empowering people who are already creatives, but also enabling people that they didn't think of themselves as creatives, and that now through this technology, they can express their ideas in a much easier way.
Yeah, that I totally understand that. So for Krea specifically, what are some of those specific ways that people are using the platform today? How is that different from when you first launched in 2022, like on a very practical level?
Sure. So in terms of users, I would divide them into one is the professional creative, one is the non-professional creatives, kind of like the hobbies. The professional creatives is paying for the subscription because we are making their work more efficient. Examples of these are like again, like people like doing mood boards, like getting inspiration, because you type like a very simple prompt and the AI can give you 4 different ideas or 8 different ideas. You can pick some of these ideas, rephrase the prompt, or add like some other conditionings into the model and get something new. And there's this conversation between creative and AI that is very powerful to get ideas. And we see a lot of creatives getting inspired by like having a conversation with AI. And then on the other side, like depending on the tool inside Krea, we're like making people efficient in different ways. Like the enhancer is used by a lot of architecture studios in processes of enhancing or upscaling. Like they come in with very basic 3D renders. They pass them through our AI upscaler, and they get like 4K images with an insane amount of detail, like textures being extremely realistic. And this is like a process that it used to take them. It was extremely expensive and it used to take them hours. Now they get it in like a minute or two. Or we also have industrial designers coming to the real-time tool and being able to connect like their 3D platform, like their 3D tools that they use, like Blender or Cinema 4D. And again, like out of like a very simple like 3D shape and out of like very like basic doodles, they can like imagine how a product could look like. Like we see people like designing chairs or designing like helmets or designing like different kinds of things in real time with like extremely realistic renders happening out of like a very basic shape. So we see a lot of efficiency happening for professional creatives. And on the other side, for the hobbyist, I think that this is more of an enabling, like they're paying for the subscription because they are able to do something that they were not able to do before without AI. And I think that most of them are just having fun, like having an idea and being able to see a like representation of it in an image or in a video. It's very fun. Like it's kind of like in the same way that people get into photography because they have fun, like going on the weekend in the street and taking pictures. There's like a similar factor here going on with non-creatives and non-professional creatives.
So you guys are across photography, videography, rendering for architecture projects or products that people are going to build. What is the technology though that makes all of this possible from the back end? For someone who doesn't know much about AI or the coding that you guys have had to kind of go through to build this, how would you explain how the technology actually works today?
So there's not one technology that is doing all of this. At Krea, we serve like probably like 20, 30 like different AI models. And each AI model is specific to a particular use case or to a particular workflow. But the way that I would explain how AIs work is that they look to a lot of images. They look to a lot of videos. They learn about them. Like they learn like the patterns that form them. And after they have this learning, they can they can generalize, which means that even though like what would be a good example? Like I've seen a picture of a chair and I've seen a picture of an avocado, and now I can create a chair with a picture with the shape of an avocado, even though I've never seen a chair like with the shape of an avocado. So there's like this factor that happens with these AI models that is what brings creativity and it's what brings like the interesting emerging capabilities that these models have. That is what makes them, in my opinion, very interesting for creative use cases.
Have there been any use cases that you guys have been really shocked by that early users were testing out, or things that they told you, we really want this, like can you build this on the platform, that kind of changed what you guys were offering?
I think that one of the best examples for this, it was like the AI trainer, if that makes sense. I feel like I personally and some other people in the team, we thought that this idea of training your own AI model would get obsolete relatively fast because of how complex it seemed. But we saw the community, like the hardcore AI community, doing this by themselves, and they curated like their own data sets and they like train like their own little models with, or they fine tune their own little models with these data sets, and they were able to get like really good results and a lot of controllability for these models. We thought that this was not the way that creatives would use this technology. It didn't feel intuitive, but people were asking for it. So we ended up like building it, and we ended up like building what we call it like Krea Train. You can like upload a bunch of images on a specific style of a specific person or of an object, and the AI can learn that style, person, object, or pretty much like whatever you put into the data set. And it turned out to be one of the most sticky and successful launches that we've made in the platform. And it turns out that creatives are interested in learning about the technology. Like I feel like that was like also a learning from our side that, oh wow, so like for creatives, it's so important to have this controllability in AI models. It's so important to have that specific style, that specific coloring in the images, or like a specific composition on the images that they create, that they are willing to learn all this process around like getting a data set, tuning a lot of like complex parameters that are like almost coming from research, and do like 10 different runs until they have this model. And once they have this model, they create all sorts of images with this.
And I assume that like branding capability really helps your enterprise clients as well, because you do have, those individuals or consumers that are using it, but also major enterprises like Perplexity or Pixar or Shopify that are using the platform as well. So is that how they're most often using it, or how else are these like larger companies using the platform?
That is the number one feature that these kind of people love. And that is also like what it's starting to show like a new kind of creative workflow with AI that is like more complex than just like typing a prompt and getting an image. Like we see people, like we see design teams at Perplexity, for example, or Shopify, training their own LoRa's for different campaigns. And LoRa is like fine tuning of one of our AI models. So they fine tune these models for a specific campaign, and then they start combining them, and that's how they get to the level that they have right now when they like put posts on Twitter, when they make like an ad that is like fully AI generated, but it doesn't really look AI generated because of how good it is. So yeah, like, and we were, by the way, like very surprised. Like when we started, like we just like recently started to talk with enterprise customers, and we thought that they of course like wanted to stay ahead of the curve in the sense that they want to learn about this technology, but we didn't know that they were already so knowledgeable. And that when they come to the platform, one of the first things that they ask is, okay, but can I train my own model? It's like all my creatives are already using this and using that, and they are already like having like so many models for us. Like, can they do that in Krea? And we're like, yeah, like actually
we can make it happen.
Yeah.
No, the AI community is growing so much, like throughout so many different industries. I'm curious to the concept of like, especially coming from a creative background, having taste and like bringing that to the forefront of what you are creating is really, really critical for the success of the outcome of the creative project. Does AI understand that, or how do you implement taste or like human creativity into these things that people are then, typing up, or the prompts that they are creating?
Right, like that's why Krea exists. Like Krea exists because taste is a new form of IP. And you need tools in order to like put this taste in an AI and have an AI that is like effectively able to reproduce that taste or that specific idea that you have in mind. And again, like through this whole process of like training a model, like training your own model, that's exactly what you're doing, no? Like by curating a data set, you're putting your taste into it. And once you have like that taste, like that visual, like that specific thing that you're looking for in this model, you train it, it's not going to work well on the first shot, so you will need to do like a few iterations until you get it. But after you get it, you can produce like that visual that you were looking for. And I think that these kind of workflows show how creating with AI, it's not just about typing a prompt and magically getting an image. There's a whole workflow, and there's like a whole process for people to really get like production level results out of it. Just
like a creative has drafts or many iterations that you go through when you're painting a picture or writing something as a human as well.
Exactly. And for these workflows, like you need tools.
Yeah.
Like you need to have like you need to have thoughtful people thinking about what research, like what things need to be abstracted and in what way, and what things need to be exposed to the creative, and how this communication between an AI model and a creative needs to happen, and how does the tool allow you to effectively communicate with the AI.
So what are your thoughts on this conversation around AI replacing artists or replacing creatives? How do you see this conversation evolving as we get more and more involved in what AI can and will do?
I think that the conversation is like definitely softer than a year ago. I feel like people are more openly adopting this technology, even on like famous creative agencies, famous companies like Shopify. I see like a trend about like people being more open about them using it, because I think that there has been like I don't know if it was a majority, but definitely like a silent group of people that they have been using this technology and not telling anybody. And I think that what is going to happen, it's a shift rather than a replacement, and it's a shift similar to what happened when we switched from drawing logos to making logos with illustration, like through like computers, or like similar to happen with CGI and like I don't know, like being able to or like CG or photography, for example. Instead of like drawing a portrait, now you can like take a snapshot of it, and that creates like the job of a photographer. I think that in this case, like what we're gonna see with AI is a shift, and we're gonna see how there's new kinds of formats that appear out of this technology, that they become extremely powerful and extremely popular, that needs people to have like a lot of understanding of AI, like creative people to have a lot of understanding of AI in order to be able to succeed in this new kind of formats that are going to exist. That on the one side, and then like working with like AI at the end of the day is like a medium. It's not like a magic thing that gives you everything that you need for your marketing campaign. You always need the creative behind, and you need a process for the AI to give you something that you like, or to be able to have something tasteful, something that really looks good.
So is this going to change the jobs that people have, or how creatives come into the workplace, or what might that look like in the future?
Like I think that in the future we will see like job postings for AI creative, or job posting, or maybe like the requirements of like a creative job like include AI.
Yeah, and do you think that artists are excited about that? Has there been any like skepticism, or from the people that you're talking with, is there fear around that shift happening?
I think that most of the people that I personally talk to, they are all quite excited. They see this as something that is empowering them rather than replacing them. But I know that there's like a lot of discussion around people feeling like they are getting displaced. I think that what is important is to like adapt. I think that this is something that it's better than the previous generation of creative tools that we had, and that people will need to adapt. And I think that at the end of the day, it's like I don't think that is something meant to replace. I think that is something meant to allow creatives to have more possibilities on creating like with formats that maybe they could have never been able to create. And I also think that requires a new kind of skill. Like I think that as a creative, something that is going to be very important now is that you have a taste, that you have an idea. And there's like a lot of parallels to be drawn also with coding. Like AI is like much better at coding than at generating images. Yet there's not this like crazy pushback from coders as there is from artists. I think that this is also a lot about like the interfaces that coders have and the work that coders do versus like the work that an artist do. And they're like completely different industries. So I understand that the artist community is like more affected by the coding. But I think that there's like, you can do like you can prototype an app as a coder, and you can like vibe code it and get something great out of it, but it's not going to go to production. And I think that is like very similar to what's happening right now with artists. Like you can create a video with AI, but I doubt that it's like going to go to production right now. But I'm sure that some of the new films that we're seeing right now have a lot of AI processes, and a lot of AI spark new ideas, and a lot of AI allowed them to move faster on a lot of different processes.
And what are investors thinking about this? You guys have $83 million in funding, correct? What have those conversations looked like? What are they most excited about you guys developing or growing throughout all these different industries?
So at the beginning, I think that our strategy of focusing first in product and then going down the stack to train AIs have turned out to be very successful. And I think that investors like that. Like investors like that. The first thing that we care when creating a strategy is the user, and that first, like we became a sort of like horizontal platform, and we made sure that anything that is out there is available to the user through a great product. And only after we have that in place, we go and build our own infrastructure to serve these models. And only after this infrastructure is stable and is in place, we go and train our own models. And I think that what they like is that we're like so horizontal, but vertically integrated at the same time. And I think that they see a lot of potential around us becoming one of the first platforms that is like fully like vertically integrated with a laser focus on creatives. Because the things that creatives like, or the things that are needed for creative workflows, are very specific. And we are really, really excited to make new AI models for those. And most of these, like most of the needs that I think that the creative community needs from AI right now, it's around controllability and aesthetics, like really being able to control these AI models and how can we make these models even more controllable. That's one of the main things that we are like researching right now. And secondly, like how can we have models that truly understand like certain aesthetics, or that truly understand aesthetics and that truly understand you as a creative. I think that this personalization layer that we can build right now through our platform is something really, really, really interesting. And I think that that's what we're excited about, and our investors were also excited about, and that's why they decided to invest.
So a lot of this conversation around AI has also surrounded sustainability and how things like data centers or the amounts of water and just like energy that has to go behind AI is potentially causing problems in the future. How are you guys thinking about that? Is that something that you guys have that on the top of your minds?
Right. I don't think that we are at the level ourselves where we are using an insane amount of compute at the moment, but I understand that especially on the LLM space, I understand how this is more of a concern because we're talking about like hundreds of thousands of H100s rather than a few hundreds or a few thousands that we're using for our models. So I myself, like, I haven't really like thought deeply about it. And I guess that the first thing that comes to mind is thinking about, okay, like we're investing like all these resources and this clearly has like a sustainability impact to our society. What are we getting out of it? Like, is this gonna pay off? Like, is this gonna be good enough for all the expense that we're having nowadays to train this AGI or whatever it is that we're trying to build? And the answer is that I don't know. I think that there's a potential of it having like a massive impact in many other industries, that maybe that impact makes us orders of magnitude more sustainable. Like on the one side, like on the medical side, just like the fact that through AI we can advance medical research and do things like cure cancer. I think that if we were able to do that through AI, fuck yes, like this was worth it. And I don't know, like if through AI we can find like more sustainable materials to build cars or to build spaceships, if this technology can help us make, I don't know, like better infrastructure systems to delivering things on Amazon or delivering or like anything that is like right now polluting the planet, can we optimize it through an extremely powerful AI system in order to be more sustainable? If the answer to that is yes, I think that it's going to pay off. It all depends on where we're able to take this technology.
So maybe it's a means to an end, and that might be worth it then, as long as we use it in the right ways.
Yes.
So moving into the next like 1 year to 5 years down the road, what are you most excited about with Krea? What are you guys looking to continue developing? What's next for you guys?
So I think that the space is extremely, extremely early. Like I think that it's like, if sometimes I think about the hit rate that we have with media models versus the hit rate that we have with LLMs. And I feel like LLMs seem that they are like 80%, like they're giving you the right answer 80% of the time for 80% of the tasks, which I think that is like a massive hit rate. And we are not there on the media space, like video, image, audio, 3D, like all these models are still like very, very behind if you compare them with LLMs. So I think that a lot of progress in the technology is going to happen, and things like reasoning need to appear in the AI space. Better multimodal architectures need to, like, I think that they're also going to appear, and they're going to make it so the communication between the artist and the AI model is going to be so much better, and the capabilities of these models are also going to improve orders of magnitude. And I'm like thinking about the future with like an open mind, because I think that every time that there's like a new breakthrough in the industry, there are things that I didn't expect to happen. Like, and I think that this like still gonna happen as these models get better. But for example, like with video models, like something that I didn't think about before seeing some of the technology that we have like nowadays, or that we like started having like a year ago, is that a really good video model can also be can give you like a 3D experience, and essentially like something that can render a video, and that if you add like a layer of controllability, if you can move around that video, even though everything is generated by a video model, it gives you like that 3D understanding or that 3D experience. And I think that these kinds of emerging capabilities of these models are going to keep happening. And I think that they are going to bring new ways of interacting with this technology. And I'm excited to put Krea in a place where we can create, like, as a research lab, like, explore what capabilities are possible and what can we create, what capabilities we're excited about and how can we train these models to have them, and on the other side, like, how can we bring them through, like, very intuitive products to the creative community.
Well, that's a great place to end. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to see all you guys create yourself and then enable other people to create as well.
Yeah, thank you.